Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exploration into the world of Pokemon. Today's video will be about Galarian form Pokemon. As you can see, I'll be reading my notes from my phone today, so if you see me looking off screen a lot, then you know why. I want to keep the facts in check for you guys. Now, the term Galarian form Pokemon refers to the regional variant of a species of Pokemon that's not natively found in the Galar region. A Pokemon in its Galarian form can take on several differences when compared to this form that's found in other regions. These differences can include its appearance, its typing, its base stats, its move pool, abilities, height, and weight. This is similar to animal species in the real world, which can have differences within their species based on climate or evolutionary patterns, just to name a few. There are 16 Pokemon with Galarian form regional variants, and we'll be going through each of them today and giving a little bit of information about all 16 of them. In addition to this, some of these Pokemon have an evolution that's exclusive to the Galar region. Not all, but only, I believe there's 6 of them, have an evolution. Starting with number 1, Meow. This Pokemon's fur becomes long and shaggy around its face, resembling a beard. Its ragged appearance becomes amplified when it evolves into the Viking Pokemon, Berserker. Now, Meowth's typing goes from pure normal to pure steel, just like its evolution. It retains the same base stat total of 290, however it sacrifices some speed points in favor of HP, physical attack, and physical defense. This Pokemon's steel typing comes from a life among savage seafarers, in which his body was toughened up so much, his fur was toughened up so much that it's partially turned into iron. Next up, we have Ponyta. This equine Pokemon trades the flames along its body for fluffy, cotton candy-like fur. It now also sports a horn on its head, which is capable of healing slight wounds. It goes from pure psychic to pure fairy. It has the same base stat total of 410. Galarian Rapidash shares many of the physical traits of its pre-evolved form. However, it goes from pure fire to psychic and fairy type. This fairy type is obviously it's not shared with its pre-evolution. It also retains the same base stat total of 500, with all of its stats remaining intact. Did you know that when this Pokemon uses the move Psycho Cut, its horn can actually pierce right through sheet metal? Slowpoke. This Pokemon's appetite for Galarica seeds has caused particles to form on parts of its body. This explains the yellow parts on its forehead and its tail. Its tail also always stays down. Unlike the former Slowpoke, the Cantonian Slowpoke, its tail is up, it's curved. This one is always down, so I guess it's even more lazy than before. Its typing is changed from water and psychic to pure psychic, and it retains the same stats as before. If Galarian Slowpoke is about to have a really bright idea, it'll get a sharp look in its eye, and then it'll immediately forget everything that it just thought about. It's speculated that this is a side effect of the Galarica seeds. Galarian Slowbro and Galarian Slowking are up next. Now, as of today's date, which is January 25th, 2020, we don't know much about these Pokemon. We've seen split-second concept art or split-second sketches in the latest Pokemon Direct, but we don't know anything about them yet besides the fact that Slowpoke can evolve into Slowbro when using an item from the Isle of Armor, and it can evolve into Slowking when using an item that can be found in the Crown Tundra. Now, will they remain water psychic type? Will they have the same stat spreads? We don't know, but that remains to be seen. Galarian Farfetched. This Pokemon adopts a darker shade of brown across its body, and the black marking on its forehead looks more like eyebrows. It goes from normal flying to pure fighting type. It retains the same base stat total of 477. However, it has slightly higher physical attack in exchange for slightly decreased speed. The stalks of leeks are both thicker and longer in the Galar region. This is why Farfetch'd nearly triples in weight because of the giant leek that it's holding. And its sheer size makes it really hard for the Pokemon to fly, which explains why it loses its fighting typing. It evolves into the long-awaited evolution of Farfetch'd, Surfetch'd. Galarian Weezing. This Pokemon gains cloud-like facial hair around its face and two hat-like tubes that are used to purify the air around it. This Pokemon goes from it goes from pure poison and turns into a poison fairy type. Now, this typing is unique, and currently it is the only Pokemon to have this type. It retains the same base stat total of 490, and all of its stats remain intact. It gains 6 whole feet in height, and nearly doubles in weight thanks to the giant smokestacks on its heads. Mr. Mott. This humorous humanoid Pokemon trades its miming talents for tap dancing skills. Its gloves become mittens, accentuating its new ice type. It goes from Psychic Fairy to Ice Psychic type. It has the same base stat total of 460. However, it gains boost to its HP and physical attack stats and its speed in exchange for lower special stats. In Kanto, this Pokemon was known as the Barrier Pokemon. In Galar, it is known as the Dance Pokemon. However, when it's tap dancing, it can actually create sheets of ice and kick them up to create barriers, staying true to its roots. It evolves into the comedian Pokemon, Mr. Rhyme. Next up is Corsola. This Pokemon's pink pigment has faded, and its arms and branches have become transparent. Sudden changes to the climate of the Galar region have caused this Pokemon to be wiped out, and its type was changed to a ghost type. Now, being the coral Pokemon, it went from water and rock to ghost type. It retains the same base stat total of 410 and slightly reduces its HP and speed stats in exchange for slightly increased defenses. Its branches can take root inside other beings and steal their life force. However, these branches don't hurt or injure their opponent. They simply immobilize them until Corsola decides to set them free. It evolves into the new Pokemon, Corsola. Zigzagoon is up next. This sweet, innocent Tanuki turned Kiss member is actually the oldest and original form of Zigzagoon. This means that the form that we grew up with in Hoenn and other regions is not the original, according to Pokemon lore. This goes from normal type to dark normal and retains the same base stat total of 240. Much like its pre-evolved form, Galarian Linoon is a bit of an edgelord this generation, and it developed this edge in order to compete with other members of its species. It goes from normal and dark normal, normal to dark normal, and has the same base stat total of 420. It uses its long tongue to taunt opponents. Once his opponents are angry enough, it'll hurl its body at them at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour to take them down. It evolves into the blocking Pokemon, Obstagoon, Darumaka. This Pokemon trades its red fur for a white coat resembling a snowball in the process. It goes from pure fire to pure ice, and retains the same base stat total of 315. Darumaka's ice typing comes from a shift in Galar's climate. This cool air caused the fire within its body to go out, leaving an organ that produces cold air. Sometimes it'll use this cold air to create snow and have playful snow fights with other members of its species. Its evolution, Darmanitan, changes in a similar way to Darumaka. This time, the giant snowball on its head is used to store food and other items. It has the same type change of fire to ice, and it retains the same base stat total of 480 when it's in its standard mode. In its typing, appearance, and personality, Darmanitan has quite literally cooled down. Its normal form's crazed and almost angry expression is now timid, and so timid that you would even pretend to be a snowman when people are nearby. As always, when a Darmanitan with the Zen mode ability falls below 50% of its health, it'll transform into Zen mode Darmanitan. Normally, this Pokemon looks like a Darumaka, but in Galar, it resembles more of an evil snowman, which I think looks pretty cool. It goes from being fire and psychic to now ice fire type, which makes it the first of its kind. It has the same base stat total of 540, but it sacrifices its defensive stats for higher physical attack and speed stats. It's less bulky, but incredibly fast, and it hits like a truck. The once dormant flame sac is reignited when it's in this form, causing the Pokemon to unleash a rampage of destruction with no regard for anyone, not even its own melting body. This continues until it chills out and becomes gentle once again. Next up is Yamask. This Pokemon trades its mask for a slab made of clay that's attached directly to its tail. It swaps its pure ghost typing for a grounding ghost type and retains the same base stat total of 303. It swaps its physical and special attack stats, which makes it a better physical attacker. The clay tablet displays cursed engravings. It's said to have possessed the Pokemon and begun storing its dark energy. Yamask evolves into the Grudge Pokemon, Runerigus. I think that's how it's pronounced. And last but not least is Stunfisk. This Pokemon normally resembles some type of flatfish, but in its Galarian form it represents a foot trap, a bear trap essentially. Its mouth resembles a Pokeball in order to entice prey to approach it, after which it'll clamp its jagged steel fins shut and trap them. It turns from ground and electric type to ground and steel type. It has the same base stat total of 471, but it swaps its physical attack and defense stats with its special attack and defense stats, becoming physically stronger in the process. Now, that's the end of this giant list of notes on Galarian form Pokemon. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you learned something from this video. I hope that maybe it just relaxed you and bored you to sleep. Whatever the case is, I hope that you got something out of it. So, that's all for this video. Like the video if you liked it. Dislike if you disliked it. Comment below and let me know what you want to see from future videos and how I can improve the content that's already on this channel. Your feedback is appreciated, and I just want to get better and be the best that I can be so that you guys can enjoy my videos, so that you can get something out of it. Without further ado, like, comment, subscribe, and be sure to check out more videos. I'll be uploading a lot more frequently in the future, and we'll get something going. So, have a good night, and see you next time.